A love for the outdoors is something that never leaves you. However, as we get older, some of its activities have a tendency to become too taxing and sometimes lose their level of importance.
But still, there's one interest that can be enjoyed no matter your age: photography. And for Mount Vernon's Rich Herrmann, it wasn't until his kids were grown up that he rediscovered his joy for photographing Iowa's natural beauty.
The thing that inspires me about Iowa is the number of quality natural preserves that are out there. When you find little pockets of these beautiful places, it's really inspiring to be out there and to try to make sure that people understand that Iowa is a very beautiful spot. And it's not just agriculture, there's a lot of other things involved.
Rich Herrmann has always had an interest in taking pictures. And growing up amidst the Rocky Mountains, it was only natural for him to dabble in nature photography. However, it wasn't until much later in life that his passion truly bloomed.
When I was a young teenager, my dad had a film camera and I lived in Wyoming. And I saw a lot of different pieces and beautiful pieces of Wyoming that kind of caught my eye. But I didn't really know anything about it. And so I just dabbled in it. And then all through my adult years, raising a family and a career, I always had a camera with me, but it was always mainly for vacations and documenting things. About 5 or 6 years ago, my brother and sister bought me a digital camera, and that rekindled all this stuff in me from when I was younger. And I took photography way more serious at some point. It's just the artistic side of it, and I wanted to be more of a ambassador for Iowa and for the natural world. And so it's a mechanical art, where you have to have something that you use to develop these photos with. But just being outside it just seemed like a natural fit because I love being outdoors.
Armed with the perfect excuse to head outside, Rich's most common subject is his home community of the Cedar River Valley. Besides his beautiful home base of Mount Vernon, Rich sees the neighboring areas, state parks, and preserves as places begging to be photographed.
The thing that I like about this area is that you do have the diversity. And, Sutliff is just kind of a historical place as far as the bridge goes. And then there's just little pockets around here that are just beautiful. With the weather, sometimes you get the fog, sometimes you'll have some rain, you'll have a big storm coming in. And when those moments appear and happen, it's like a magic moment for me.
Sutliff's historic Parker Truss Bridge has provided several of those magic moments. Found on the National Registry of Historic Places, Rich has routinely found himself framing up the walkway's unique appeal.
This bridge, if you look at the river and the reflections and the way that the structure is built, it's got that old-timey kind of steampunkish look to it, like, back in the 1800s. And there's something about being in a modern world, looking back in time, and just the way the lines kind of converge. And it's just a classic kind of look when it comes to, framing a shot.
In all his photography adventures, Rich's approach always centers around imagination. While his camera will ultimately capture the picture, he feels discovering a photo worth taking requires a youthful sense of creativity.
When I go into a scene, I act like I'm a kid again, and I don't have any expectations of what I'm going to see. So I go in there with an open mind. When you start doing that, things start jumping out at you if you're aware. And when something pops out like a color or a pattern or a contrast and it catches your eye, there's something about it, then I'll go explore that.
Ever ready for the moment to guide him, Rich doesn't rely on his digital camera as his only photography tool. He also carries something now considered a bit of a rarity.
Today, actually, I would probably grab my film camera because it's bright, but I prefer digital overall because of the flexibility it gives you as a photographer. But there's still that nostalgia of film, and that film, in most cases, if it's done right, it will turn out different. And it's just still a beautiful, beautiful medium, but it's more difficult, it really is.
Another aspect of digital cameras that endears photographers is post-processing. At the same time Rich fell back in love with photography, he also got hooked on manipulating his photos after they've been taken.
Every once in a while, when I'm out in nature, I lose myself and I forget what time it is, where I'm at. I'm just right there in the moment, trying to explore this beautiful world. But I also really enjoy the post-processing to really see if I can make it better. to see if I can really portray nature in a very, very high standard for people to enjoy.
Post-processing offers artists a wide variety of options to manipulate their images. While some argue its merits, Rich sees programs like Photoshop and Lightroom as tools to better replicate the outside world.
In nature, you have this beautiful scene that just unfolded in front of you, and you want to portray it the best you can. So is there something I can do to this photo to make it a little bit better, a little more realistic? So this one right here, that was up in Grundy County. When I looked at the photo, the original photo, there's some great elements here. You got, some layers going on here. You have the darkness, but it's not something dramatic. And I'm looking for more of an emotional, dramatic punch to that photo. So I said, well, let's turn this into a black and white and see what that does. And to me, this just has more of a classic country Iowa look to it.
As more people discover all the options to capture beautiful images, Rich has one counterintuitive trick that might just hook you on the potential of digital photography.
I would say the very first thing you should do once you get your camera, besides reading the manual, the very first thing would be to underexpose a photo just a little bit, especially with sky. It'll bring the colors out a little bit more. You'll have more information on your sensor. You can always brighten it up later in post-processing. But to me, if you can darken a photo just a hair, you will see a little bit more color in your photo, and you might be happier.
For those who have yet to find their confidence in photography, Rich contends, don't give up. Even if you never sell a single photo, having a camera is a gateway to bigger and better things.
Most people in your daily life, you have a structure, and we get into routines. If I have a camera with me, now I can break out of that routine and say, you know what, I'm gonna go here. I've never been here before, but that's my excuse to get out and enjoy nature and do something different. A lot of people are shy and they don't wanna go and do something different, but if you have a camera, now you've got the passport to open up a whole different world.